You know what the most ferocious creature is on the planet?
A badger.
A woman, a
No.
mother.
Protecting her son. That's right, Kara.
Hey,
Whoa. Blessed.
how you doing?
Okay, how about you?
Well, I don't know yet.
Yeah,
Still trying to figure that out.
me
I'm
too.
still. It's a work in progress.
It's all relative, huh?
Yeah. Sound good?
Yep, he does. Can you hear us, Tom?
Can you hear everybody, Tom?
Can you hear us?
Yeah, good. Who's
Okay.
that? Who's that beautiful angel voice in the background?
That was Charles.
Sadie, my dog.
Yeah. All right.
Hey, you know what? You know what?
What's that?
Are you talking to us or Tom? Or
Yes.
all three of us? What?
30 years ago,
30?
30.
Mm.
30 years ago, there's a guy by the name of Don the Ripper Ross. Have you ever heard of him, Tom?
Yeah, I have.
Wrestler, pro wrestler.
Yeah,
He wrote for some muscle mags,
right.
and I got to know him at Gold's Gym.
Yeah,
And he told me 30 years ago, he said, and we started talking about government.
yeah,
And he said, you know, they're slowly but surely slipping, taking the carpet away from us.
exactly.
30 years ago, you know,
Yeah,
he was just mainly talking about just in general, the government just becoming more restrictive.
exactly.
And you know what? Here we are.
I know.
Here we are. And it's a scary fucking thing.
It is. And think back just with even at the beginning of our democracy with George Washington, the first president and everything, there was the Federalists that wanted the government to have more control. And then there was the people,
Yeah.
democracy that wanted it. And
Yeah.
we've been fighting back and forth for 300 years.
Yeah.
And now it's it swings one way or the other, one way or the other. Now it's really going the other way.
Well, and the thing about it is, in my lifetime, I've never seen it like this. You know, I don't know how it was, and I know we've gone through some stuff as a country. We've gone through some stuff to fight back fascism and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
But this has been like a weird.
It's
It's a weird deal, you know, what's going on. And the scary thing is, it just seems like there's so many big players that are lining up against
right.
this country. And for the life of me, I can't figure this shit out. I can't figure out why, except for the fact that people want power.
Yeah, you're right. I think, after people get so much money, women, and the next thing is power.
Yeah.
Because you can only buy so much, and the next thing is egotistical thing is controlling and power, and all these globalists and a lot of billionaires, they're using that from ego, not really helping people.
Yeah. Well, because it doesn't really impact the ones that are in power.
Right.
And then the thing is crazy, which has been happening, and we saw that now with this virus, how
Right.
you can control people when you scare the hell out of them.
Yes.
Also, when you start indoctrinating the young, because they don't
Right.
know any better, and they just believe what they, when you're at that level at that age with kids, they're just going to believe what you say, blind faith for the most part.
Well, there is the few that are smart enough to not fall for the tricks.
Well, the
I'm
few
just
ain't going to help us at
I'm
this
just-
point. But so you're controlling the vulnerable, basically the young
Right.
that don't know anything, pretty much, and then of course the older group of people,
Yeah.
But it's some scary stuff, man.
It is. Look,
I
I mean,
think-
look what happened in Germany with the Nazis, how that started.
Yeah.
The regular Germans thought, they're just a crazy radical group, but they got more power, more control, everything.
Yeah.
And then Yeah, it's just crazy. What's happening. Mhm.
Yeah. So anyway, why don't we talk about, because this is one of the things that's really a topic
Right.
Right
is
now in the world.
basically they're going to come after our guns. What's that? The Second Amendment?
Yeah. Hmm.
They're going to come after our guns, and I don't know, man. I mean, I've several years ago, just for the hell of it, I went out and got a gun permit,
Right.
and I'm not anti-gun.
Wait. Repeat that one more time. Let's rewind like 30 seconds.
Several years ago.
Oh, okay.
Okay, what?
That's all.
I guess you want to just like contribute to the podcast.
So I'm still here.
No,
Yeah, we know you're there. Do we have a bell in the house? She can ring it when she wants to come on.
I just needed to hear that one thing. I just
What
missed
one
that
thing?
one thing. What you just said. Never mind. Please keep going. Continue.
Okay, anyway. So,
Do you still have it?
huh? No.
Okay.
But
it expires.
I went and got my gun permit, and I was shooting in the range, and I'm not a big proponent of
Yeah.
like, I don't shoot guns, and I don't, in fact, maybe you can correct me on this, but based on stats, more people get killed with their own weapon
Right.
than not. Is that true or not?
Yeah, very true. Very true. And it's just negligence handling. And, a lot of kids have been killed because the parents didn't put the weapon away in a safe, secure area.
Yeah.
But, but think about this. How many people die from heart disease, lung disease, from smoking? This is
Yeah.
500,000, 200,000. Negligent surgeries over 200,000. Negligent prescribed drugs. 125,000. An average 50, 60,000 people die a year in America for guns. And the same thing, traffic accident, about that's the same.
Yeah.
I mean, it's one of the lowest things actually under the conditions.
Yeah. And no, I'm not anti-gun. It's just we put on a gun course many years ago, and those guys, they were the ones that actually told us, we had a course where they were showing us how to disarm somebody that had a gun.
Mm-hmm.
And they said, what a lot of people don't realize, unless you're trained, unless you go out and you get your permit and get a gun, unless you are consistent about shooting at the range. But he said, even so, when you get in that moment where you're confronting somebody who's trying to rob you or something like that, the adrenaline that you get from that, it's a whole different dynamic when you go to shoot your gun.
Yes.
And how do you? So again, I'm against them taking the gun away, but I also know that there's, I think to a degree,
there has to be a balance.
But like you said, there are more accidents, car accidents, and more things that people are dying from. Than being shot by a gun. But it gets a pretty bad rap that way, I guess.
It does. And the media puts such an emphasis on it, and a lot of it is very liberal, and they want to take the guns away. So they want to train and program the people. Guns are so dangerous, and the guns are killing people, but it's the people using the guns. And what really happens, all the cases I studied, with Columbine, all the high schools and everything, it's usually kind of similar to 9/11. You got all these departments, sheriff department, friends, people at school, teachers, everything, right?
Yeah.
And they all see weird things with one kid, insecure thing, but they never talk and communicate and distribute the information and figure it out. So many of these guys that shot up a high school or something, or people or mall or whatever, were interviewed by the FBI, but then they let them go. For some reason, because they didn't have enough evidence, So, that there's a breakdown right there with all the departments and people in society, and that should be more proactive, just like a neighborhood watch program. Everybody contributes. So everybody that knows certain people's kids should contribute. School, family, friends, neighbors, everything, sports. If they contribute, there'd be more red flags to go up that we could control the psychological aspect.
Kara and Charlie, my question for you guys is, have you ever had guns? Kara?
No, I have never had a gun.
Have you shot a gun?
I have shot a gun.
And what do you think about it?
I loved it. More
what?
for a hobby, though.
She said she loved it.
I did.
Oh.
I loved it. It was a lot of fun. Like shooting all kinds of different guns, and
So would you be fine with having a gun in the house?
definitely, most definitely.
How about you, Charlie?
I don't care. Like, I don't care if when you're born they give everybody a handgun or if they ban guns. I don't
Really?
care at all.
Wow.
But Leo, what's interesting, I hardly use, I teach a lot of shooting and weapons and stuff. And, my background is I was, Special Forces Green Beret, and my MOS or expertise was light and heavy weapons. So I studied all kinds of weapons, put them together, took them apart, everything. And then being a bodyguard for 45 years with weapons too. But the last few years, I've been teaching more women shooting. They're more interested. And a lot of them are very paranoid, anxiety, and scared because their nervous system more sensitive. But it's amazing after get them calmed down and they do it, and you start lower calibers, work up or whatever, they get comfortable with, and they get more secure, more empowered and self-confidence that they know the safety and how to control that weapon too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And-
that definitely is there. I mean, I can only speak for women, but like
Yeah.
even staring with the first gun I stared at, I was intimidated just being in the same room with it. And then touching it, I just felt really scared. But then
Yeah.
once it was like I shot it, I worked with it, and then it wasn't as bad, but it was definitely a process.
But how do you like what we're talking about? It's different than being actually engaged, like when it's really going down.
Yeah.
So how do you
Yeah.
train for that?
That would be
I mean,
tough.
seriously, I think it's more of a false confidence for you. You might feel really comfortable with it and all that, but what happens when you get in that moment? Now, I don't know. With me, what I learned about myself is when I get in moments like that, I actually do calm down.
Right.
I don't get rattled. I go the
Right.
other way, which is really weird.
Mhm.
It's after the fact, But I'm just wondering, how do most people respond in a situation like that, Tom?
Oh, okay. Well, here's a situation. Look at, they found maybe even these high-speed court chases. Remember the cops used to
Yeah.
full on. They don't do it anymore. They just wait, cruise till he runs out of gas. Something happened because when the high-speed chase, their blood pressure was going way up, and they go like 185 beats per second. I mean per minute, and they got all this adrenaline going, and they lose focus, and then that's when people get killed. So they backed all that off to all the police department. They don't do high-speed chase anymore. Same thing with weapons. Unless you have a cop that's really well trained, have been in life and death shooting situations again over and over, knows how to treat it completely, that's what's going to happen. Their adrenaline's going to kick in. If they're not experienced, it's going to go fight or flight, and they're going to be like this, shooting all over, and their blood pressure, everything, and the beats will go so high they'll lose control completely. But it's got to be like below 170 beats per minute, to coolly calm down and still have focus and control that way. And to be honest with you, I mean, a majority of cops aren't really well trained in real combat situations.
Yeah.
And then they're not trained. For example, like as a bodyguard, you have to escalate. You have your voice as a weapon, then physical, and then your mind, and then physical, and then you can use some weapon. But the last ditch situation is using a weapon. You got many other weapons before that. You want to diffuse the situation, de-escalate it. And most cops, of course, you got to look at the other side. A lot of domestic violences, cops have gotten shot on that, husband and wife, boyfriend, girlfriend, and the guy just starts shooting, and or they pull over a car, gangbangers just start shooting them and take off. So they got to be ready for anything. But I notice a difference if you take like a combat SEAL Team 6 commander, Special Forces commander, some military guy that's been in combat a lot, and they understand how to keep their mind cool, calm, collected, and just thinking, what's the best rational thing I can do, the best thing I can do. And your mind's got to be in that state to make better choices, decisions. If you start thinking, oh my God, life, and escalate that, that's why so many people get shot, because these police don't know how to diffuse it and use other weapons first. But
that's a cop. Those are cops.
Yeah.
The average person, having a gun. But with that being said, Charlie and Kara. What would happen? Let's just say you don't. I assume that you don't have a weapon in the house.
No.
Okay. And you either, Kara?
Nope.
Okay, so
pocket knives and bow and arrows and stuff.
okay, because I was
Bow
going
and
to
arrows.
I was going to say, if somebody comes in and breaks into your house, what are you going to do? I mean,
I think the chances are very low someone's ever going to break in.
yeah, but what are you going to do? It could happen. It's probably based on stats. It won't happen, but what if it does?
But you know, that kind of stuff been happening more often lately too.
Yeah.
People get more desperate, and burglars are getting more self-confident because they know but they'll knock on the door or something, nobody answers, ring the door, then they'll break a window good in. Even if somebody answers, they put a gun to them and they got them, and they can tell them to do anything, you know. And even a lot of that was happening a couple of years ago in Beverly Hills, even.
No, I've definitely thought about that stuff.
If someone broke in, I wouldn't want to kill them. So
what happens if they had your kid?
Oh no, I would definitely do it.
We're just, what if, but you just don't know what you would do in the moment. That's the thing.
I think, to be really honest, I would probably shoot.
If they broke in?
Yeah.
Or
if they broke in, no, if they just broke in, because that you're already going after my kid at that point.
Because they broke in?
Yeah.
Maybe they just want $10, not your kid.
I don't think that they're
But what
ready for $10.
I think
I wouldn't aim to kill, but I would definitely shoot to scare or shoot for like the arm. I mean, if I was really trained, then most likely I'd be shooting for like a leg or an arm. I wouldn't want to kill them.
Realistically, this ain't a movie, so you shoot them in their arm and their leg, and it's a pretty high chance they'll still die. It's not like a movie, like one gunshot could kill you.
Yeah.
Don't be breaking into people's houses.
Rounds and they're all
You're
fine.
taking that risk when you break into a house.
Yeah, but I don't know. I'm not saying breaking into a house is right, but I'm saying I'm sure, like, the chances of breaking into a house are really low, but let's say them actually having a gun and trying to take your kid. Nobody likes kids. Nobody's going to go into my house and try to take my kids. They're not.
Okay.
That's like a 0.1 chance. But let's say if it happened,
I'm not even worried about them taking my kid, more of doing something to us. And I think the difference is
right.
Exactly.
Yeah,
you're a guy, so you can use your own self as a weapon.
I'm not going to get my house broken into to get raped. No one's looking at me and like, I'm going to rape that dude, so I get it.
Yes. So for me, as soon as it happens, I'm just nipping it in the butt because I'm not going to give them the opportunity to do anything like that.
Yeah, but see, you know what the most ferocious creature is on the planet?
A badger.
A woman, mother.
Protecting her son. That's right, Kara.
Yes.
No, I mean, it's one thing right now. You're thinking very
Did you call them a creature?
He did. How did you explain it?
Like a swamp creature?
What did you say exactly?
I meant a species.
Oh my God.
What did you really mean, Tom?
Dangerous, violent.
Yeah. So basically a female protecting their children.
Yeah.
I mean, look at the animal kingdom. A bear. Oh my God. Anything,
Yeah.
I mean, even.
I definitely know that I could Hulk out.
What if I told you, Kara, Charles?
Then look at me.
You already what?
Look at me when you speak.
Are you saying that in a you're demanding?
Yeah, I was.
Okay. But if I told you, what do you think is more dangerous, a gun or a knife?
I think. Oh, that's hard. You go.
I think a knife would hurt more, but a gun, because I think we in our mind, Hollywood has made guns less than what they are. Like realistically, you get shot once, it's a good chance you're gonna die.
So let's just say, for example, that okay, maybe you already answered me, but so if somebody comes into your house
with a knife or a gun, I would fight back. A gun, I wouldn't.
That's interesting because stats prove otherwise.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to get
a person that has a knife, especially Tom. Maybe you can weigh in on this, but a person who has a knife that's not trained is way more dangerous than a person who has a knife that's trained.
I think I've heard that.
And
yes.
And in a knife fight, both people are going to get hurt.
Yes.
In a gunfight, not so much. Is that right, Tom?
Yeah, a gunfight is going to go one way. The most critical thing with a knife is just getting your artery cut or your leg or arm, and they're swishing or getting your eyes cut out or throat or something.
Both people are going to get hurt in a knife fight, especially with somebody who doesn't know what they're doing with the knife because they're flailing.
Yeah,
and you're going to both get cut.
And another thing, what like Charles is saying, we're so programmed from movies, TV, all these adventure, and all these hero stars are getting shot in the arm, getting a shot, and they still keep going. It doesn't work that way. I mean, somebody gets shot in the arm, and leg, they may be crippled their whole life. It does 10 times more damage than what the movies and everything say. So a lot of these kids think like, oh, it's not so bad, and they play all these shooting games and Nintendo.
Yeah.
I mean, they did a study years ago, and they found by the time a kid, when the Nintendo and all these shooting games came out, was 16 years old, they already killed 150,000 people playing all these games,
Wow.
That's crazy.
Yeah. But, the biggest thing with a gun, before you use a gun to shoot somebody, you have to be faced with deadly force. That means they're going to shoot you, kill you, shoot somebody next to you, or harm them or maim them. Then, like if you didn't shoot them, you would get killed or maimed or beat up.
Yeah.
And then see, it's relative here. Say, for example, you got a small woman and there's a guy 6'6", doesn't have a weapon, but he's beating the hell out of her. And then she shoots him. He doesn't have a weapon, but he's so big related to her. And she could say in court, yeah, I feared for my life, which you would fear for your life when you got a guy 2 feet taller than you.
Yeah.
Very true. I would definitely fear for my life.
So that could be legal. She could be self-defense that way too. So it's kind of relative how everything balances out legally.
Yeah. And what do you think is more intimidating I'm asking Kara and Charles, what do you think is more intimidating to someone who's like, they don't have a gun, but you do, okay? Do you think that you'll intimidate them more with a rifle or a handgun?
Oh, these are some good questions.
Yeah, they're thinkers.
You thought about this before.
No, I just random. That dynamic and brilliant. No, but I'm just curious. What do you think?
I have probably a rifle.
A rifle?
Yeah.
Why?
It's bigger.
Bigger.
There's a reason, but it's not that. I just look stupid, but I know shit. It's that sound.
Yeah.
When they cock that
Oh,
rifle,
yeah.
that runs off more people than a handgun. Just that sound.
Yeah.
Because everybody knows that sound.
Yeah, that's true.
Is that true or not, Tom?
Yeah.
I'm just making shit up.
No, you're doing good. I can see you're well prepared, boy. But it depends.
We're well prepared.
Some have a bolt that makes a sound, and then shotguns have a sleeve. You cock a the loudest one, like a Remington 870 or something,
And we all know that. We all know that, right?
Yeah.
Interesting. So, what are you more accurate with, a rifle or a gun, Tom?
Oh, rifle, completely. If you aim it properly, but it depends on the distance. Rifle is going to be much better longer distance.
Yeah.
Even handguns and revolvers with a longer barrel are more accurate too, because they have a better range. And it depends on the grains of the bullet and how much powder is behind it,
I think because I don't have a gun in my house, but my wife has two.
Yeah.
And so, and again, I don't want one, Charlie, like you're saying, I really don't want one to shoot at somebody.
But the fact that you have one now?
Well, no, I'm more afraid that she's got one.
I know.
I'm probably going to be collateral damage.
Yeah.
And I got a feeling that in the back of her head, she bought it kind of for if she needs to use it on me if I do some stupid shit.
Oh my gosh.
No, that's funny. That's
Possibly.
true, because I had a high-profile client, Beverly Hills once, and he had a huge gun collection, whole room, tons of guns, 100 of them, used to collect them. And then they got a divorce, and the wife's attorney, and she said, hey, get rid of the guns. So he had to get rid of all of them, sell them or give them away or store them out somewhere.
Oh, the perception of that, you mean? Like in court?
Yeah.
Did you say
Exactly,
No.
No, you don't. Maybe I don't have guns because of my death phobia.
Oh.
I didn't think about it because I just don't think about it. I don't know.
Interesting. I think if I was to have a gun, though, if I did, I'd have a rifle, but I'd have a shotgun.
Yeah.
A double barrel shotgun, because that, if I've got this right, when you shoot that, the BB spread, right?
You're right.
Yeah.
Like crazy. So I have a better chance of stopping the intruder.
That's true.
Yeah.
I think that's what I would have.
Of course, it mess up
Now
your
that's
walls a
what I
little
would
bit
do.
too.
So, what's that, Tom?
It mess up your walls a little bit too.
Who
because with the
cares at
spread.
that point?
Why didn't you shoot the gun? I didn't want to fuck up my walls.
Exactly.
I just painted my walls. I don't know. It's weird.
But to go back what we were talking about earlier, it's probably, I don't know, it's a hard statistic, but it could be 80 or 100 million guns or more in America. Like a good 1/3 or almost half people own guns to some regard.
Yeah.
And then, say for example, World War II, which Admiral Yamamoto, they kept saying they had all these meetings because my instructor's father was at some of these meetings before they decided to attack Pearl Harbor. And everybody said, no, we should attack, all these generals said, we should attack the mainland. And as Yamamoto said, you guys are crazy. You have no idea. He said, his exact statement was, in America, there's a gun behind every blade of grass in America.
Yeah.
And that's why they decided to attack Pearl Harbor.
Yeah.
They knew they couldn't attack the mainland because everybody would fight. There's so many guns.
I'm really surprised about this stuff that's been going on, like in our country right now, with all these riots and all this looting and stuff like that. I'm surprised that more people haven't been killed. Because these people are basically walking. I mean, there was a couple of people that walked down on the street actually protecting stores, their own stores with guns.
Yeah.
And I would have thought, based on what you're saying, that a lot of people have guns in America.
Yeah.
I would have thought there'd be more killings and more shootings.
Yeah.
I'd like to think it's because there's a lot more good people than we like to imagine.
Well, maybe that's the case.
I hope that's the case.
Well, look at there's this controversy with schools about teachers having guns.
Oh, yeah. I don't know about that.
Well, see, it depends on a teacher. The teacher's got to be well trained and understand guns. You can't just have, a woman that's never shot before, knows nothing about guns or power or anything, have a gun. It's ridiculous,
Yeah.
If we can't get our cops trained right, I don't think we could get our teachers trained right.
Yeah, really, seriously.
And then how many teachers in California get busted for sex with they obviously can't listen already.
Oh my gosh.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's crazy, man. How do you guys feel about, because it bugs the shit out of me, the thought of having, because my kids, I went to school, there was
You guys used to get spanked.
none of this shit. I mean, there was none of this stuff with guns.
No.
There weren't shootings like this. There weren't. Or
No.
if there were, the news and the way that the news is brought to us now is much different. It's more real time. I do get that, but it wasn't like that back then. Even like when my kids went to school, every once in a while you had a school lockdown.
Right.
But when you start thinking about, and my question is, how would you feel about taking your kids to a school that has armed guards to protect your kid to go to school? To me, that bothers me. It's like, I'm sending my kid into a school where they should be going in to learn and have fun and be safe. And what's this guy doing with the MK77 like at my, in front of my door, in front of school? I don't know. What do you think about that, Carol?
Well, I think it depends on what it's going to look like. So, I mean,
it's going to look like a guy standing outside the school
every
with
single
an AK-47.
Yeah.
Don't
I mean-
overthink it. You're walking your kid to school, and the first thing they see is like guards.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I wouldn't like it because of what like my son's seeing, because it's like you have to be protected. Like the world is that bad that you have to be protected. It's something we're like constantly thinking about. I wouldn't want him to constantly be thinking about it.
It would almost make me
like,
scared.
he
Like if I was
doesn't.
a little kid like that.
Yeah, I would think so.
It's like, oh shit, why,
Why do I need your
and
protection?
then what do you do? Lie to him? Oh, he's just out there. No, he's out there protecting you because why, Daddy, Mommy?
I think that's the question. I think we need to figure out. Let's not count this year because this has been a shitty year. But let's go back to 2019. I think the world is in the best state it's ever been in. With like, you ordered those lights. When are they getting here today?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We're in a crazy time right now where it's like not 2020, 2019. It's unbelievably great and fun. But the world, as in school shootings, depression, suicides, it's worse than it's ever been. And
It's off the charts.
I don't understand. I think we need to figure out why. If the world's so great, and the world is great, why is there's Why is the bad shit so high now?
Yeah. Well, and like you said, I look at what's going on.
When did you go to high school?
73.
Okay, and you said there was like almost none of this.
None of this.
Look how much from 73 to today we have. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
How many things you're able to do or get, and like you think. I don't know. You know what I mean? You know what I'm trying to say though? Like it blows my mind that the world is. I don't understand. I've talked to you about I have depression and stuff, but I kind of kick it a lot because I have to sit there and be like, life is good. Like your life is good. And, but I don't know. It bugs me because there's a lot to be grateful for in the world. And it seems like the world doesn't see it that way. We have a lot of, I think the numbers are way higher for school shootings, suicides.
And not only that, this is the less safe that I've felt in my own country.
Yeah.
And when I see stuff that's going on TV, and I'm really perplexed and maybe a little conflicted as far as how much news should we be getting on what's going on out there. I don't know how good that really is, but I've never felt more unsafe. And maybe it's partly because of my age. I don't know that, but the point is I feel more unsafe now than I ever have. And I guess the irony of that is there's more guns and more things out there that should be where you almost think you'd feel safer, but I don't.
That's what I'm saying. We need to figure out what's wrong with what's going on in people, like with people, what's changing in their minds that it's making it so. Because I don't necessarily think it's the guns. Because do we have more guns? Yeah. But we also have a lot more good things or a lot more protective things. I don't know. What I mean?
Yeah, it's like you said, Tom, guns don't kill people. People kill people, So there is something going on, I guess. I don't know. I almost think like it's I think there's not enough consequences for people's behavior. When I see this shit that's on the street, this supposedly peaceful protesting, which is rioting and looting. I mean, it blows my mind when I see them walking in and out of fucking stores and there's no consequences.
Yeah, exactly. Well,
go ahead.
Excuse me. Think of it this way. Here's the problem with the freedom that we have, and the rights we have. A lot of people take that very greedily and very selfishly, and they keep getting more freedom, and suppress the law. And they want to defund many of the police departments now, and a lot of black leaders and everything. They want to prohibit chokeholds, batons, stun guns, everything. I mean, what are they going to have left? The problem is the police and certain police have to be, and some are excellent this way, excellent shooters and excellent with submissive stuff, but the police have to be trained better just in a chokehold, how to do it properly. Most of them don't know how to do it properly,
And you think that the police, you would make sure they would.
Yeah, exactly.
But they probably just teach them and then they don't really get much
their
practice.
Training like one night? What's their training? It's like stupid.
Tom would know that. How long do the cops have to go through a
they go through a few month training period, but that's it. And then
months.
They shoot maybe once a month or every few months. They go to a range.
I'm feeling way less safe now.
I'm going to school. I'm going to school to be a graphic designer, and that's years.
Yes,
these years to paint on the computer.
That's really fucked up. I mean, really, when you think about it that way.
Yeah.
When you think about it that way,
it is. True. That's why I brought it up. Like that is, I'm drawing on a computer. They could take someone's life, and they're like 2 months, you'll be fine. Super good.
I mean, what percentage? What percentage, Tom? Do you think a police force or ex-military? Probably a high percentage.
Oh yeah. There's 10-20%, probably 10 to 15. It depends.
They're used to shooting, but that's in a different.
Totally different category. Those guys are great,
But they tell. I've heard this now on TV. Like when these cops sometimes they think, well, the people that are against the shootings are saying they overreacted. They didn't have to shoot 15 times into that person, but they're trained that way, aren't they, Tom?
Yes.
To stop them.
Yes.
And is there a better way to do that? Because I know there's been trying to think of. I think it's Biden. He said, well, instead of them shooting, to kill. No, Joe Biden. Oh. He's the guy that's running for.
Yeah. The one that's all weird with kids.
Yeah, they.
Oh yeah. Okay, I'm on the same page with you. Anyway, he said, why don't they just instead of shooting, to kill, why doesn't they shoot him in the leg or something like that? Do you agree with that? Or like when you're in that moment,
No,
do you really have enough time to make that call, that judgment
No.
call? Because it's either you're going to go home or
Yeah.
I'm going to go home. You know what I mean?
right. You're right. It comes down. You got one split second, and even if they wound him, in a leg or arm, the guy can still shoot. He can still
Yeah.
shoot 2 or 3 cops too.
Yeah.
So it's
What do you think about using tasers instead of guns? Because I know I guess more of the police force are starting to carry tasers.
yeah,
But at this little Philadelphia shooting that they had, they didn't have enough money in their budget
you're
to
right.
be carrying tasers. Is that right?
Yeah, that's it. That's it. I
Charlie
mean,
Charlie is smirking. What?
I don't think tasers will do anything.
No?
My dad's been tased a lot, like because
really?
he's been to prison a few times.
Uh-huh.
yeah,
And he was like, when you have adrenaline and they're beating your ass and they tase you, it does nothing at all.
Oh, really?
hmm
Let's try.
I never heard that.
I don't have that adrenaline.
I've
My
never
dad was a
heard that.
hardcore big Mexican guy. I'm not nothing like that. I get tased, I'd probably die.
I used to bounce at
Yeah.
a nightclub, and I saw somebody get tased.
yeah.
Oh, yeah, they're on the ground like being electrocuted.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I've seen it on shows, like the cop shows too. Like they get tased and they're just still running.
Yeah, I've seen, Charles right. There's a small percentage of really big, tough guys, huge guys. So they got so much mass, it doesn't affect them as other people. Everybody's nervous system is different too,
Yeah.
So,
I can only imagine.
but, you wouldn't want to use a taser when somebody's shooting at you either.
Sure. So how
And-
do you, we're talking here about getting cops trained up better, but just
Yeah.
for that example that I'm using, how do you change that? Like what happened is, I don't know if you saw the TV footage of this last shooting, but the cops they're dealing with somebody who's got a record. They know
Yeah.
that going in, and they're telling the guy to stop, and the
Right.
guy keeps coming at him. What are you supposed to do in something like that? And the guy, he was within 20 feet of the officer, and we know that, and they know that 21 feet is the magic number.
Right.
But when somebody is within 21 feet, you got to take them down because they can close on you just like that.
hmm
And you would think, well, they're 20 feet away. So
Yeah.
how do you train somebody better to make that a different result? I don't know. I'm asking the question.
Yeah, it's just practical experience, It's just like, how do you train somebody to do an exercise correctly? You keep having them do the exercise, repetition, and correcting their form, like in karate, anything. So they have to keep going through that scenario, and they have to make that choice, be able to
And
make
yet-
that correct choice.
And yet, cops are just trained a few months.
Yeah.
I mean, do they have ongoing training where they're like what you're saying? Are they putting that scenario over and over again? I don't think so.
I think that
I'm pro cop, man.
No,
I want
me
you to know
too.
that. I'm
Me
not
too.
anti.
No,
I think that they're trained a certain way, and then I'm listening to Tom when it comes to it's down to experience, because I guess it's a 50-50 chance. Every time you're in that situation, there's a 50-50 chance that it's going to go bad or it's going to go good, and they have to make the decision of how they handle it. Do they handle it like it's going to be a bad, or do they handle it like it's going to be a good? And I'm guessing that because their life matters to them, they're automatically just going to pretend like it's going to be bad. I'm going to
Yeah.
always assume that it's going to be bad because I'm going to protect myself before I'm going to protect them.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm going to go home
exactly.
tonight. You're not.
That's exactly what I would think. Like, they're
Yeah,
not really
okay.
at it as like, oh, I want to, do this all the time. No, they probably never want to do it. But if you're going to put me in a position to pick, it's always going to be me.
Yeah.
I think that when you're in that spot, the minute you start thinking, you're done.
Why are you laughing?
Right.
Listening to you guys.
Well, speak.
I think you're done if you have to think about what
Yeah,
you're gonna-
right. You have to train
your
yourself subconsciously to react. And what Kara's saying is right. A lot of most cops have families and young kids and everything. They want to go home to their family.
Well, I'm sure
and-
they also are scared. Like, there has to be somewhat of, the thought of, I'm gonna come before you. Okay, yes, but they probably just instantly get scared as well. Doesn't mean they're superheroes just 'cause they're cops. That they like don't ever get worried or scared
That's a
or
tough-
Oh, yeah.
intimidated,
It is.
nervous.
That's
Hey,
the-
And what about like the cops in maybe I'm watching too much TV, but like the cops in like England or Ireland or one of those
Yeah.
countries over there, they don't even carry guns.
Well, when they did that, they prohibited all guns. Even the cops weren't carrying. The crime went up 400%. They did that years ago in Australia, and the crime went up. And then, they get all these donation people said, oh, okay, turn in your guns. We're going to make it a non-gun society. All the good guys, all the good people turn in their guns. The bad guys not turning in their guns.
Yeah, so
it doesn't work.
Yeah.
It doesn't work,
100%.
Yeah. And
how'd you like to be a cop in one of those countries where you don't have a gun to carry?
Oh my God.
And you know that the bad guys are going to have the guns.
Yeah, no way. No way.
Oh my God. I wouldn't either. I don't know how they do it.
No, it's terrible, and then that's why, in England they carried those little batons. And they didn't have a weapon, and they had those little hats. And the only one that could carry guns were like their specialty SWAT teams had sub guns and stuff like. But that they'd only be called in if it was a high threat level, a bank robbery or something like that,
Yeah.
So yeah, it was tough, because the bad guys are not going to turn in their guns no matter what. It's not going to happen.
Maybe what we need to do is because I think back in the early days, and I don't think they're doing as much now for whatever reason, is the police were more like in the neighborhoods, and they got to know the people, in those neighborhoods. And I think that there's a lot of people are just really, they have a more of a negative viewpoint of policemen now than I think maybe before when they were a beat cop, you know. And they knew Joey, and they knew, they kind of knew each other in a different way. Do you think something like that would be a better result?
Yeah, totally. Because, most cops, it's relative. Some are really highly trained, some are very novice rookies, and there's everything in between as far as what experience they had and what kind of situation they're showing up with, a domestic case or like a bank robbery or whatever. They got to have experience from the bottom level to the top level, and there's very few, small percentage of cops that have been on a beat that long, and they've dealt with everything. And that's still no guarantees. They may get shot, killed too, So now that's what they're talking about. Instead of calling 911 and police, you call a therapist, or you call a negotiator, you call somebody else that could come in for a lesser degree, so people don't feel as threatened and intimidated that way. I don't know. That may work too, but right now, you could call 911 for any situation, pretty much, So, it's a tough situation now. And then it's going to be interesting what's going to happen. There's a lot of liberals, they want to defund the police department. They want to get rid of guns, they get rid of chokes, batons, everything. But God, how are they going to defend themselves? You remember the time 10, 15 years ago, there was the bank robbery up in the hills near Hollywood. And these guys had bulletproof vests, flak jackets, AK-47s, and he robbed his bank. And they were standing right out in the open. Police are shooting at them, but they only had handguns. They didn't even have M16s or CAR-15s in a car. And they eventually got him, calling in more units. But it took a long time to take these guys down because they were outgunned. The police were outgunned. Yeah. And you never know when a situation like that will happen.
Well, I tell you, man, I mean, people, I think in our society, we have the Second Amendment to protect not only ourselves from like the bad people, but it's to protect ourselves from our government too.
Yes. I mean,
and yet what's going on right now, it seems to me that the government wants to, or this administration sounds like they want to get rid of your Second Amendment. So you can't protect yourself, but you're basically, the government's going to have all the weapons, right?
Yeah, and they can control everything, but that's why, like you're saying, I think the Washington and the first people that started it, when they put that in, it wasn't for a foreign country to protect themselves, because we got the military for that. They really gave us the Second Amendment to protect ourselves, dangerous situations, self-defense, and to protect ourselves against the government if they got too powerful and start taking away our freedom.
Yeah. I'm really worried for you guys. I am.
Thank you.
I'm worried for you guys. I'm worried for my kids, my grandkids.
For our children.
I'm just worried. I don't think anything that crazy will change in our time.
No,
I think it's our kids,
not in your time? You don't think so?
I think there'll be changes. Like, I was just saying, how different is it from the 70s to now?
Yeah.
There'll be definitely changes, but I feel like in our kids, or kids, the world won't even look the
same. Let me, with what you're saying, how old are you? Wait a minute, you're like 28?
Yes.
Okay, look, in since the 70s, which is 30 years, Look how much it's changed.
Yeah.
Okay, 30 years from now, you're going to be 50 some years old.
It's just different since I was a baby from like the
So
late
it
80s.
may happen during your time. Is what I'm trying to say.
But I'm thinking it's going to be dramatically different by my kids or their kids, like where the world ain't even almost recognizable. Definitely from your time. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's
For example, a lot of positive, a lot of negative, like with China. So communist country and government totally controls. I mean, the positive part, they have such a restricted society. I mean, if something happens there, we don't hear about it because they're very quiet, silent about it, but there's not that much corruption there. Corruption, yeah, but not violence of like bank robberies there, because they'll bring in the military and wipe you out. Like when they had the Olympics there, people living there, they said, hey, you move. We're taking this.
You guys probably don't remember this, but Tom does. How about Tiananmen Square? That fiasco.
Oh, yeah. Remember that? Yeah. Unbelievable.
That was China. Was that China?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Students facing tanks.
Yeah.
They're tanks. A whole battalion of tanks there.
Tanks.
Yeah.
I wish I could see tanks coming through your street.
That would.
For example, another one, like when they did the Olympics in China.
Yeah.
A few months ahead of time, they had all these human rights attorneys, about 250 or something of it. They put them all in jail ahead of time. So they couldn't represent anything. You couldn't do anything. Made up some pseudo crime that they did,
Yeah.
So.
I mean, we're not facing anything like that.
No.
But I tell you what, when they wanted to close me down because of this virus, ooh. I mean, I wanted to stay open for more than just one reason. I can't. The thought of the government telling me what to do, just like that. I flashed back to that Don Ross,
the
Ripper, when he said they're slowly, taking your freedom away from you.
Yeah,
that's crossing my mind when I'm making decisions now. Anyway,
so
listen,
true.
we're gonna wrap this thing up here, Tom. Do you have anything more to say that can make us all feel better and sleep tonight?
Let's see.
That's a lot of pressure.
But how about if we all just the summer of love, like the mayor in Portland? How about if we all just smoke weed and just stay high all the time?
Yeah.
Be in harmony with each other.
People that smoke weed don't kill people, do they?
Very small percentage.
Peace and love.
Woodstock.
They
had that big ass riot. They're the biggest hypocrites in the world.
Really?
Yeah, they were like tons were killed, raped, and these were hippies all smoking.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I hate hippies.
But at least it
Gosh.
calmed Mike Tyson down a bit.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But he's gonna face Roy Jones pretty soon, huh?
Yeah.
Dude, he's on beast mode right now.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah. How old is he?
54.
Yeah.
Guy's an animal. He's a beast.
He's an animal.
Oh my God.
He's on some HRT.
Is that what is that? Is that a steroid or
hormone replacement therapy?
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That makes you young and viral again. So there's still hope for us, Tom. Anyway. You guys got anything to say?
Yeah.
Wait, Tom. Hold on.
Sorry.
You guys got anything to say before we leave?
I was gonna answer earlier. What were we talking about earlier? About the police. I think they need a lot more training, a lot more, and I think we should defund them. And I'm pro cop.
Wait a minute. You think we should defund them, but you're pro cop?
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. How does that look?
Like all my answers, they're always both ways. Just government funding for each city, town, whatever is always like almost everywhere is education, at least here, is number one, and then number two is police. I just don't feel like we need to put that. They're showing us that they can't handle that. Definitely if we're not going to defund them, that money that we want to defund them needs to go to their training because they suck. I don't know what to say. Cops suck. And I've met a lot of cops that are really good people, but the overall, I would say it's like 51% suck. But that 51's too high for cops. What if we were having this talk about pilots or doctors? Like, well, not all the cops are bad.
But I don't, unless we're getting skewed numbers, I don't think that your assessment is correct. I don't think 50% of the cops, I'm not saying that there aren't bad apples, But 50%.
There has to be none, though.
That's impossible.
It has to be like one. How many bad pilots do we talk about? We don't talk about none.
Yeah, but that doesn't.
You know why? Because planes would be crashing and we'd be dying.
Well, you make a point there.
And but I think there's an answer. It's instead of, someone doing an application at McDonald's for 2 months, we do actual training and schooling, and it needs to be longer than 2 months. That's the problem.
Yeah, my take would be just to take that money and train more.
Basically, a homeless person.
I want cops out there.
Cop.
I'll take my chances.
Right.
Yeah. What about you, Kyle? Before we leave, what's your solution? Charles has a solution. I actually like.
How about making therapy free, so people could go and start seeing people? We just said that the suicide rates are higher than ever, and people are obviously making bad choices. If they could go get help for free.
Isn't that out there or
not for free?
No,
it's a lot of money.
Who pays for that?
You out of your pocket. They want us to be bad. They want us to be fucked up. That's how I feel. Like we're in a losing war and they don't care.
I think we need to actually go back to God for that, because He made us. We're going off topic here just a little bit, but He made us. He made us all fucked up.
Oh my God!
Okay, that was a good podcast, guys.
Well, think about that. You make me, and then you give me temptation. That's pretty fucked up. You talk about losing a lose-lose.
Yeah.
Okay, but technically speaking,
Okay,
I mean that's a lose-lose.
Speaking,
don't make me, and then make me with all these.
We had a choice to fall for that temptation. We fucked up. So how did He do that?
He made us in His own image, supposedly.
But He gave us the biggest gift possible, free will.
Huh.
And then we decide.
He also gave.
Decide
He also
what to
gave
do
us
with that.
Degenerative diseases. Why? Why did He give free will then? If that was the case.
And you think the diseases were just given from Him, or it can't be just something that the
He
world
made
has
us. He made us with that
created?
Well, some people, like if you're exposed to, to like a Roundup for 30 years.
Yeah.
But there's actually kids that are born with a degenerative disease.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe we need training at other levels. I'm just saying.
Yeah, but without faith, what would we have?
Yourself.
That's not yourself.
Yourself.
That's not enough. Man.
You don't believe in yourself?
There has to be something bigger than yourself.
Really?
Yeah, there has to be.
I disagree.
If we're so great, why don't we know what's at the bottom of the ocean, what's in the space to cure cancer? Like we're not great.
I didn't say we're great. I said I believe in myself. I don't need faith.
There has to be something higher. You believe
Guns,
that, right?
Guns, baby. Guns. Anyway, we're gonna leave it at that. Okay? Guns. No government guns. Anyway.
But think about this. All these kids kind of brought up in the Midwest when they're 6, 7, 8, 10 years old, going out hunting with their father.
Yeah.
They learn about guns. They learn about it. There's never any of those kind of kids that have experience that go wacko, because they have a background. I mean, I took my son to the indoor range when he was 6 years old, shot everything, and they understand the power, the safety, everything, but these kids that are messed up mentally, and a lot of them, they feel like they can't get attention, and they want to get their 15 minutes of fame and take everybody out with them because they're angry against society because they weren't given enough love or something, or attention. So there's a lot of psychological out there that have to be monitored.
More free therapy.
Yeah,
I told you. I'm not kidding about
because
that.
We're the family dynamic is breaking up.
Yeah,
compared to how it used to be.
But also
together for sure.
Another point, Leo, is that look at Martin Luther King, all the protest walks they did, and even Malcolm X and stuff. Those guys never did any violent. He would be so pissed off and offended, for all these people doing these protests and rioting like that. They wore suits and ties, looked struck. They didn't look like bums on the street, anything. They were very classy. That shows an incredible statement, just that. And that's why he made so many things move and powerful. But, another point, what's interesting, like it seems like we've gone back. I question this, gone back 150 years for racism and prejudice. But what if it never really left? And all these things are coming out now, how people really feel that they've been holding in their subconscious mind. What about if we acted like we evolved from that, but we really haven't?
Maybe not.
I
Yeah,
don't think we have at all until we get rid of color and even heritage.
yeah,
We need to just look at ourselves as humans from now on. And if we can't do that, it'll always be separated. There's always like, you go on TV and there's BET, there's like Mexican channels. We
Yeah.
separate ourselves and then we
Like
don't
tribalism?
understand why we're separated.
but I have a final statement. Is what my karate martial art master said. When it really comes down to it, there's no prejudice against color, race, creed, politics, religion. The real prejudice is in level of mentality and consciousness.
There you have it,
Yeah,
right
that
there.
makes sense.
More
Right?
training.
Yeah.
And therapy, clearly.
Yeah.
Do you think that Visalia should have a tank?
Are you asking me?
Mm-hmm.
A tank of what?
Like a tank. Like a tank.
No.
You know, our police department has a tank?
Do they?
Yeah.
No, I don't think they should.
You don't think maybe they need to be defunded then? Because they're spending
I
their
don't
money
think
on
they
stupid
need
ass
to
shit.
defund because of the tank.
I'm saying they don't know how to spend their money.
Well, that's a different story.
Yeah.
You know, that's another animal.
Yeah, another
That's
whole
part of the-
topic for it.
Yeah, that's a whole different topic. But anyway,
Yeah.
hey, it's been lovely.
Yes.
Thank
you,
talking
Tom.
about this today.
Thank you guys. Such
And-
great input.
Yeah, I think we've temporarily solved some of the problems of the world until therapy, free therapy.
I hope people listening learned something, or we didn't make them more confused.
Yes, exactly. Why don't we pay attention to see if the suicide rate goes up in the next week or so? Then we'll know. Anyway,
Okay.
all right, man. Well, thanks
Okay.
for coming on.
No, my pleasure and
Alrighty.
honor as usual, guys. Thank you,
Ciao.
guys. Kara, Charles, and Leo. Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Later, boss man.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Okay. Bye-bye.